What's going on, guys? It's your boy John the Liquidator coming back with another video. So it looks like Todd MONKEN is opening up about the second week of training camp. Will SHEDEUR Sanders prevail? Because we know that first week looked magnificent. I ain't gonna waste no time, man. Make sure you guys all subscribe to the tribe, like the video, hype the video, and we will be launching a new NFL channel today. We're gonna talk about that at the end of this one. Guys, let's jump right into this video.
I don't think I've ever been through a camp where there hasn't been a scuffle. We got prideful guys, guys that love to compete, love to practice, and, that's going to happen. I mean, it's a physical sport. You're going to have those pop up every now and then.
Todd, you mentioned the O-line and the D-line. How does the evaluation change for those two groups in particular when the pads come on, and what do you kind of look for?
Well, without the pads, you're talking about footwork, communication, are you in the right spot, and certainly, hand placement. But then when you put the pads on, now it's finish. Now it's our ability to defensively, shed and get off blocks, point of contact, physicality. So we're looking forward to that. And our tight ends, that's a big part of it, and our fullbacks. Actually, all 11.
Hey, Todd, we talked to Quincy Williams earlier today. What have you learned most about him since you guys have been together?
Well, he is so much fun to be around. Let's start with that. Never had a bad day. Maybe not around me, he hasn't. Loves football, loves his teammates. That's what I see every day. I mean, he's a special individual. People that are wired that way, that when you talk about energy, attitude, and body language, I mean, you look that up. I don't even know if that's probably not in the dictionary. But if you looked it up, Quincy Williams' picture's right next to that, because that's who he is.
Todd, you talked about first 8 days or install. How much does the format of practice change once you get past Thursdays? That 8th day. Do you sort of alter kind of because it seems like there's been a fairly standard routine for practice. How much does that change once you get out of the all-star?
It'll be similar. What'll change is when we're drilling down to what we're really going to run, what we plan on focusing on. Certainly you're going to dive into more situational football because you're done with your main installs. That'll come into play, but ultimately we'll continue to build off of our installs and the things we're going to do as we move forward.
Todd, you were with Mike Evans. I don't know, was it his rookie year?
I was with Mike Evans in Tampa.
Yeah.
I was with Mike, if I have it right, I was with him in his 3rd, 4th, and 5th year. I think he'd been there a year, then they drafted Jameis, and then I think I got him 3, 4, 5, I think.
Okay, so Boston, compared to him, is it fair that early in Evans' career do you see?
We're back on that Carson and Kuechly thing here. We're comparing a little early to compare to Mike Evans, who is an absolute stud. Not only from his size, catch radius, ability to bend, get in and out of breaks, has an unbelievable competitive spirit to want to win. When I was with him, he never complained about balls coming his way. He knew they would come his way. And I loved coaching Mike Evans. I mean, he is a absolute stud and fun to be around. And Denzel has some of those attributes in terms of catch radius. I haven't seen it yet, the edge that Mike plays with, but he's still a rookie, so I wasn't there his first 2 years. But I think the catch radius and the ability to throw it up to him, you do see certain aspects of Mike's game in him.
I know we've talked to you already a little bit about Dylan Gabriel, but each day he keeps going out there and stacking consistent days. Is it maybe in some ways a little unfortunate that he wasn't able to show more or do more, with the first or second team, just based
Yeah, I mean, it's at some point when you start in the spring or some point in the spring and the fall, you have to have set some form of a depth chart in terms of reps. That's just the way it goes. And I said it the other day, the player, everybody's competing, but you're not guaranteed the same amount of reps. So it's up to the player to take advantage and maximize those reps, which I feel like Dylan has done. So we see as we move forward, if that continues, we'll continue to up his reps. I mean, he's earned that. That's what every player should expect, right? If they play well, you have to up their reps, or what's the purpose of playing well?
Beyond the scuffle, the offense defense felt like they've been pretty chippy at each other, pushing each other really hard. Do you appreciate that level of intensity between the two groups? Is like the cliche iron sharpens iron, but are you seeing that out there?
Sure. I think it's a lot of fun to be around. As long as it stays within, it's us against the world, it's us against an opponent, not us against us, from offense to defense. And I have not seen that. I've seen the fun side of that. I don't think the scuffle had to do so much with the, with the back and forth. What I do see is our coaches and players having fun in a very, very tough sport that you have to stack days, and it only gets tougher from here when you put the pads on every day.
Denzel talked to us about maybe having a chip on his shoulder just after the draft and wanting to prove people wrong. I guess for you as a coach, that sort of drive, how have you seen that so far in him?
Well, at some point, I mean, I don't know how long that goes. I don't know. I think at some point in practice, you're not thinking about, boy, I got drafted where I got drafted. I mean, at some point, it doesn't matter. I mean, at that point, what pick was he?
39.
Holy cow, you're the 39th best player in a draft? I mean, that's pretty damn good. I mean, I don't know what to tell you, but I don't see it as that. I see it as there's a lot of really good football players out there, and you go with the 39th pick. I mean, that's pretty special. So if he feels that internally, I'm fine with that if that's what fuels him. But at this point, it's about being the best player you can be, fighting like hell to get to your second contract when it really matters at that point.
How important is Mason? One more thing on Denzel. He told us that between the walkthrough and the meetings, that they're 2 3-hour sessions a day. My question to you is,
What did he say? He said what now?
yeah,
He said what?
He said 3-hour blocks of meetings in the morning and at night.
All right. We meet at 8 and walkthroughs at 11. So, but there's breaks in there. He's taking it to an extreme. All right. He's taking that to a whole nother level there. I mean, there are some breaks in there. And then after practice, we only get them for 11 hours, right? I mean, we do get the full time. So if they lift at 7, they have to be gone by 6. If they start at 8, they can be gone by 7. So somewhere in there is lift, if we lift that day, meetings, walk, lunch, prep for practice, practice, meet. So I don't really know exactly where all that falls, but that is normal camp calendar.
so my question is, do you have to guard against information overload with all that meeting time?
That's what the meeting time is for. It's not really to overload them, it's to help them. Does that make sense? Now, do I find it difficult? Do I think all of us, to sit there the whole time? We give them breaks. They can bring in snacks, help them to take notes. We have video, try to change our voice a little bit, try to keep them excited about it. That's up to them to be a pro. If they start falling asleep, stand up. Got to get the information. It is different than college. I mean, there's a lot of information there, and we expect them to be pros.
Todd, with Mason, what did you see from him last year, early in camp? And then just how important is he to what you're trying to do defensively?
Well, I mean, talk about ball get off. You know, what I didn't know is I always saw him as maybe an undersized inside guy with great ball get off that's disruptive. What he is that, but I think he's not going Luke Kuechly here, but in terms of the D-line, in terms of calls and anticipation, right, of what he's going to see, communication, quarterback, verbal, O-line, you know, in terms of their calls. I see it every day. He is not only that, but he is more, because he really understands football, and he anticipates what offenses are trying to do to him, and that I didn't know. Jesse Minter told me that had him at Michigan, told me that at the owners' meetings. He said, no, he's much more than just a guy that gets off the ball. He's fun to watch. You know, it's hard as an offensive head coach. Every now and then you can be a little bit of whiny, you know, when they're disruptive, but it's awesome for us.
Todd, yesterday I saw on a play in which, not yesterday, but the day before, where Quinshon kind of lit up Mike Hall a little bit, and I'm just wondering, you know, it's football? I know it's football practice, but is that the kind of thing that, I mean, are you cool with that if you know the?
Well, no. I mean, in the heat of the moment, what happened on the practice field, and I've met with Quinshon about it, there is a certain amount of regret, right, at the moment when it happens. But we are all human, and we do make mistakes. And that's what I always tell our team. I said, you got to fight to not get hijacked emotionally in a highly emotional game, or all of us, whether it's in our work or emotional or our personal lives, try not to get hijacked emotionally. But to me, where you go from here is we are human. I said this the other day. We're going to fall short. Are you going to own it? And then are we going to fix it? And that's just a speed bump. That's all it is. It was a mistake.
Is Schlesinger back today?
What's that?
Carson Schlesinger.
He will not be back. He's dealing with a little minor injury, so he will not be back today.
Any update on Royer?
I do not, no.
Good. Todd, last one. Going back to just the.
A lot of pressure on the last one. Seemed like there was a little staggering right there. Just I got one.
Yeah.
All right.
This is kind of maybe a big picture look for you. You could probably take in a lot of different directions, but just off the top of your head, maybe the main way you think the coaching profession has changed and the way it stayed the same throughout your.
Wow, that's the last one that's going to, okay, how the coaching profession has changed and how it has stayed the same.
And you could even, instead of going back to the beginning of your coaching career, you could even start at NFL, about almost 20 years now.
Well, first off, the staffs have gotten so much bigger. Hell, we got 28 coaches, for God's sakes. I mean, hell, back then, I'll just talk college. Back then when I first started, like, you only had these coaches. You didn't even have the support staff. Hell, you'd be coaching running backs and you'd have travel. Hey, you'd be planning Shoney's breakfast and damn the Holiday Inn Express or shit where you're staying. You know, you had one guy at academics. This guy, like, hell, you'd see one coach taping and shit, lining the fields. I mean, that's what my dad did when I was little. That's what you did. Now you got so much support staff and you have a big coaching staff. It allows you to really focus on certain aspects of the job, if that makes sense. Certain guys don't have to draw cards anymore. You have guys to do that. And from a game planning standpoint, preparation standpoint, it's the money that now goes into staffing I love, because it allows you to really drill down into certain things you want to focus on. Where it's changed the most, I would say, is I would just say that it has changed in terms of, first of all, what is hard? You know, like, everything's always hard. It's just a matter of what you compare it to, right? The old 3-a-days and 2-a-days, then 1-a-days, and then a day off, right? Like, of what it used to be, but obviously the training these days in terms of where our players' bodies are, but certainly in terms of, like, training camp has changed in terms of, you know, getting them for 11 hours and they're out of here, which I think makes it a lot more manageable. But, you know, I like the time with the players, but that has certainly changed in terms of the amount of time you get with the guys also in the off season, the amount of time you get with the guys. And so, but, you know, staffs have changed, the sizes have changed, and then the amount of time you get with the players has changed.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.